the people that come to the conference is what makes it special, and everyone who comes is so gracious and kind and patient and eager to want to learn and grow and have fun with one another. Welcome to the official CultureCon podcast, where we explore how work actually works.
We're your hosts, Zach Blumenfeld
and Nick Lombardino.
Whether you're leading a team, shaping culture, or just passionate about making work more meaningful, you're in the right place.
Each episode will bring you stories, insights, and bold ideas from people who are building better workplaces and better work experiences.
The official CultureCon podcast starts now.
And we're up. What's up, dude? How are you?
I'm good. I think I finally recovered from Vegas and CultureCon West, feeling back to normal. How are you doing?
I'm feeling good. I had a very productive weekend.
Oh yeah? Tell me more.
We winterized, so we got all the patio furniture pulled in. I did the last lawn mow of the season, which felt amazing.
Nice.
We got the Christmas lights up. Yeah, dude, it was a good, productive weekend. How about you?
It was good. I did a lot of shopping and returns. So yesterday I went to West Elm. I went to Crate and Barrel. Costco, obviously. I have to make my weekly trip.
Did you get a hot dog?
I didn't. I've been trying to eat a little healthier. I ate a lot of good food in Vegas, so trying to come back down from that. Where else? We went to Home Goods, World Market. It was
Did you make it
a weekend full of shopping.
Bed Bath & Beyond? Did you have time?
No. The shops close at like 6 o'clock on Sundays, so only got a couple in.
What'd you return?
We're trying to get a new bedroom set, like sheets and a duvet, which I always just used a comforter as a kid and an adult, I guess, but Carly wants this duvet with the insert, and so just opening up my eyes to a whole new world.
Lola Blankets is not a sponsor of us in any way.
They should be. They should be.
I have to give them a shout out, and you a shout out for recommending this as a gift, because that has now become my holiday staple for gift giving. So for those of you who don't know what a Lola blanket is, Google it. When they say it's the world's softest blanket, I don't even think that does it justice. It is just like the most plush, comfortable, cozy thing. So I bought like 3 Lola blankets this weekend for relatives.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dude. That's all thanks to you. That was such a great
It's so soft. It's unreal. It's unreal.
So soft. Okay. Lock in, dude. We got to focus. So this podcast is a special one because this episode is supposed to be kind of our, I don't know if we want to call it like a recap of CultureCon West 2025, but certainly kind of just like you and I going through maybe what some of our key special moments were that stood out to us. Less so from like a content standpoint. I think in the episode notes, we'll drop a link to a blog post we recently put out that's a little bit more content driven on kind of what our attendees said were the key takeaways from a presentation standpoint. But for you and I in this episode, I think it'd just be fun to riff off of one another, go back and forth and kind of just say what were some standout moments from CultureCon West this year, which at the time of us recording this, CultureCon West started 2 weeks ago today. So we're 2 weeks removed from it. I think you and I are both kind of just starting to reemerge from post-production work after the event. We've had a lot of stuff to do with media production, a lot of stuff to do with stakeholder debriefs and conversations. So now it's feeling like a really good time to just kind of, take some gratitude and reflect on some key moments. And I think for me, I'll kick things off. The one thing that we did, this was a first for us at CultureCon West, was we tried to make the event more sustainable. So for those of you who don't know, CultureCon is a certified B corporation, which means we're held to high standards of both social and environmental responsibility. So this year we partnered with an organization called Trip Zero, which is led by a gentleman named Eric Zimmerman. And we were introduced to Eric actually by one of our very first podcast interviews. Nathan Stuck connected us with Eric through the B Corp community. And so what Eric's organization does is they partner with event organizers. So organizations that have events that typically require people to travel in from out of state. And what Trip Zero will do is they'll work with you, first of all, to help kind of identify a venue that can fit your conference needs. So they help with the RFP process, they help with contract negotiations, and then they help with attendee travel booking. And that's really important because then what Trip Zero does is a portion of the profits that come through attendees booking hotel stays, Trip Zero then uses that funding to help some really cool renewable energy and reforestation and methane reduction projects. So they take that profit and they help kind of offset the carbon footprint that's a result of attendees traveling to your event. So that's amazing, just like kind of tackling one of the biggest things right out the gate. And then what the organization does is they help you identify like low-hanging fruit at the event on things that you can do to become more sustainable. And I can't speak for you, Zach, but I remember kind of initially feeling a little bit anxious at the idea of trying to do something more sustainable. It just felt like we would bite off more than we could chew, and certainly didn't want to do anything that just felt half-ass. And my misconceptions were that running a sustainable event would just be too either cost prohibitive or logistically prohibitive. And boy, we learned that really wasn't the case.
Yeah, I was under the same impression. Like, you think sustainability and just there's such a huge lift with that. But it was actually, I would say, quite simple in what we started with. I mean, the bar is set and we can improve on all that we've done at CultureCon West. But Eric and Trip Zero, I think, just made it easier to grasp and kind of work on that sustainability in year one here, and a lot of room to grow and work to do. But yeah, Trip Zero was a great partner, and we knocked out the big one with the carbon footprint offset and just little things around the conference venue to really help with sustainability. Another thing I really liked, I'm a big Hamilton fan. And so when I heard that one of our sponsors and speakers, Generous, was bringing in Julius Thomas III, who played Alexander Hamilton in the production, I was pretty excited about that. So that was one of my highlights of the conference. And Generous is a really cool platform. They have this aspect of team building and volunteering that help drive employee engagement. And so their session at CultureCon West, we actually got to help make jump ropes for the Boys and Girls Club local there in Las Vegas. And Julius Thomas led the activity, and then at the end got to sing one of the songs from Hamilton. And that was one of the very few times I saw a standing ovation in the crowd for a speaker. And Jamie and Bailey from Generous were there too, leading the activity. And it was just a really cool break in the day. And it does really help, like, team building, engagement. People were chatting the whole time. And it was just a really good time. So that was one of the highlights from the conference for me.
Yeah, that session was jam-packed. It was so cool. Like, we didn't even know that Julius was going to be coming until like a month before, let alone didn't even know he was going to be giving a live performance until day of. So that was just like an incredible surprise. But yeah, you know, what really stood out to me about that presentation, other than, you know, the incredible performance by Julius, was like they did a really good job of illustrating like the power of play and purpose. And so, like you had mentioned, the Generous platform kind of giving functionality to be able to give your employees outlets to volunteer and bring their own personal passions to work. So that presentation was just so cool. And then, yeah, obviously the cap off with Julius was a fun surprise for sure.
I did also love that one picture that got displayed of you playing soccer in high school. Maybe if people are watching on YouTube, we can throw that on the screen real quick.
Yikes. Yeah. That was, yeah. So their presentation was fun because they had polled certain attendees ahead of time to send them photos of themselves as like kids. So the activity was like, when you used to play on the playground as a kid, like what archetype were you on the playground? Were you like part of the group of kids that were like playing sports? Were you part of the kids that were like theater kids? So I think there was like 8 or 9 different archetypes. So I had told them in advance that I was probably maybe one of the sport group kids, and they had asked for a photo of me playing soccer or something. So I sent one of me in high school playing soccer where I was wearing goggles. Yeah, I got kicked in the eye in middle school playing soccer, and from that point on, the doctor made me wear rec specs when I played sports. So everybody in the room got to see me wearing goggles in high school. And then, as you know, as embarrassing and funny as my photo was, I don't know if it holds a candle to the photo that they showed of you.
Yeah, that afro I had in high school was it was good. It was good. We'll keep it with that. But yeah, the story I had to share was not as monumental as yours, but just that I won the rock, paper, scissors school championship, beating over 2,000 students at Memorial. Not a big deal at all. But,
what a great resume builder for you. That's incredible. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, so that session was incredible. And I think a lot of the magic of our conferences, and we've brought this up before, a lot of it has to do with the activations that happen outside of kind of the formal structure and program of our event. And so this year, 2 jump to mind right out the gate. The first is the Longer Table experience. Tim Jones, the executive director from Longer Table, has been really a huge supporter of our work. And through his partnership with Cove and the Connection crew, they bring to our events this really immersive and intimate experience where outside of the CultureCon conference programming, they set up either a lunch or a dinner. In the case with Las Vegas, we did a dinner off-site at this beautiful, beautiful building called the Doyle. And it's an incredible meal. There's roughly, 60 people that attend. And you sit at these 2 long tables, and really the only rule is that you can't talk about work. And for you and I, it was the first time we've actually been able to go to one of these experiences. Whereas in the past, we've had a lot of conference planning obligations, so we weren't able to go in the past. So this was our first time going, and holy smokes, what an incredible experience that was.
Yeah, it was really awesome. And I know it's something that you and I have always wanted to check out, but just with conference planning and organizing duties, it was tough to get to. So we made it a point just to make sure we could be there this year. And yeah, Tim really set the stage with his opening remarks. And then I was really moved actually by Andrew Bishop when Recognition was one of the sponsors along with Robertson Marketing. And Andrew Bishop, who's the president of Recognition, kind of got up and shared a story about the dinner table at his own household and how that's such a big part of his family and his life. And growing up, he was kind of always on the move with sports, and they didn't really have those sit-down dinners as much. But his wife's family, that was really a staple and a tradition that carried over to his own family. So 6 p.m. every night, they're at the table, no matter what's going on. There's no work talk. They just have time with their dad, and he gets to see his kids and have really meaningful time. And so it kind of set the stage for the whole night. And yeah, work never came up. It was just getting to know attendees and connecting on a deeper level. And it was just really, really awesome evening, and that'll always stick with me.
I think I was wearing this hat at the dinner, and during Andrew's talk, when he was talking about what dinner meant to his family and kind of like dinner norms, I was kind of reflecting on my own upbringing and some rules that we have in my house. And I was like, oh shit, I'm wearing a hat. And I like took my hat off right away and put it under the table.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was like, to your point, it was like he did a really good job of kind of help pulling you back into that positive psychology of being around friends and loved ones around a table, and that like centuries old feeling of breaking bread with one another, and how that can create new pathways to connection and empathy and storytelling. So that was really moving.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like this, we've been going through a lot of remodeling at our house, and so we haven't had a kitchen for for 3 months. And just a couple weeks ago, right before I left for Vegas, was like the first night we could actually have a dinner. And it's so different, like sitting down with Carly at the kitchen table and having a dinner together and like no distractions versus like standing up on a counter, like eating takeout food. Like you can actually have a deeper conversation. There's something about that table, that kitchen table, that makes it all happen.
That's real, dude. That's real. The other immersive experience that sticks out to me, which unfortunately we weren't able to do it in Las Vegas, but it's the mystery trip. It's put on
Dave
by
Green, yes,
our good buddy Dave Green. So he's been bringing mystery trips to our events for the last couple of years, and the premise is that attendees can sign up for this mystery trip, and the only thing that they know going into it is what time it starts, where they need to meet for the mystery trip, and that food will be provided at some point in time. Other than that, it's just they have no idea what they're walking into. And Dave's responsible for creating these really like adventures. They're kind of like little mini adventures within the city that we're hosting events in. I'm reluctant to say what they did. Like, I wonder if does that give anything away, or is it okay now that it's in the past?
I think now that it's in the past, it's okay.
Okay. So they went to the KISS miniature golf experience, and I just saw the photos. It looked wild. It looked completely wild. They ended the night with an incredible meal at a Mexican restaurant nearby. But in the past, Dave has orchestrated scavenger hunts around cities. Just like, it looks like the most fun. And whether it's longer tables experience or mystery trip, the common thread connected to both of them is like, we're not talking about work. We're just going out, having fun, making connections in a really meaningful way with fellow attendees that only deepen meaningful connections. So yeah, I mean, we're so grateful to have partners like them helping to create these types of experiences and activations around our conference. We want to give a quick thank you to our friends at Culture Shape. They're really helping people and culture leaders design and deliver higher impact programs through a single source.
Yeah, and one of the things I love is their culture wheel. It's a 12-month visual calendar that makes it easier to plan, organize, and communicate culture programs across the whole organization. It's a simple way to get stronger buy-in and support.
And right now we got a really cool promotion for our CultureCon podcast listeners. You can get 50% off a one-on-one 4-week online consulting program with Pete Savage, Culture Shape's CEO. These spots are limited, so if you're interested, head to cultureshape.co/CultureCon to grab your place.
Those are some of my favorite parts, and I feel like this year we just leveled up on both the longer table and the mystery trip, and we can't really take any credit for that. That's all Tim and longer table and Dave at mystery trip. I think another one of my favorites kind of outside of the conference was the VIP after party. This year we had it in the Planet Hollywood, which was our conference venue. Used to have a nightclub, and we had it there. And it was just a really good time. I mean, again, no work talk. There was a little conference talk, but it was mostly just getting to know attendees and celebrating that the conference was over. It went really well. And so, yeah, people kind of just like let loose, and you get to know someone on a deeper level. And I don't know, what was your favorite moment of that? There were so many to talk about.
I had a couple. Well, for one, we had a guy in there from Planet Hollywood who did that live creme brulee torching station. So
oh my gosh, yeah.
The only food that was served at the after party was creme brulee. And our buddy Darren, Dr. Darren Ike, just told me the other day that he had 4 creme brulees. He just stood at the counter. The guy just kept torching up different creme brulees, and Darren's just shoveling them down.
I went back for seconds, but 4, that's impressive.
4, yeah, he's a legend. But I think my favorite was like the fact that this used to be an old nightclub. The space was huge. And if you can like imagine the most stereotypical nightclub where there's like the DJ booth, which is like at least a level higher than the rest of the crowd that's like gathered below. They just let us go into that area because that's where like the AV setup was for us to play music. So just being able to go up there and kind of get on the ones and twos for a few minutes and play. What did I play? Peebo Bryson, A Whole New World. Is
Oh
that
yeah, you were singing. It was like almost, I would say it's a level above karaoke because we had all the AV going. And my friend, you have a beautiful voice. It's beautiful.
dude? That's kind of you. That's kind of you to say, but it's kind of jarring when you go from like I can't remember what like 90s party jam playlist we were playing to then Nick abruptly switching to a Disney classic, right? It's just I remember everybody's heads just kind of turning and looking up like what the hell just happened, and then I'm up there singing A Whole New World.
Do you want to give us a little taste of what that sounded like right
sure
now?
don't. No sir, thank you though. Come to CultureCon VIP after party and maybe you'll hear something. But then how about Izzy, dude? How about that Izzy?
Shout out Izzy. Yeah, that was an amazing story. So one of the coolest folks on the AV team at the conference, Gabby. I mean, she was amazing. Shout out Gabby. Like anything that went wrong or anything we needed, she was the first one there helping out. And so she came to the after party to help out with the AV there. And she brought her boyfriend, Izzy, I was talking to him a little bit and asked him what he did. And he said he's a musician. And I looked him up on Spotify. I'm like, oh, this guy is like legit. Like he has a lot of views and a lot of really good songs.
You like did that like right then and there, right? Because he like told you he was a performer. And then you just like,
and I'm like, people say that all the time. And I pulled up Spotify and Apple Music. I'm like, yep, he's like legit. And so I asked him like, do you want to sing a couple songs or rap a little bit? And he's like, sure. And so Gabby pulled up, I think it was a Michael Jackson song that he covered. Obviously, I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. That was my request, but he did a phenomenal job on that. And then he played a couple originals too. And I was blown away. I mean, his voice was unreal. And then playing his own music too. That was like something I'd hear on the radio, like driving. It was amazing.
That was so good. Yeah, we'll have to find a way to like drop his Spotify link in the episode notes because that was just such a fun serendipitous moment at the after party for sure. Yep, that'll be tough to top.
Yeah, I think something else that I'm just looking at myself on screen right now that I thought we did a really unintentionally good job is picking the color of the year for the t-shirts. When Nick and I got to the conference and pulled out the t-shirts, we're like, ooh, I don't know about this color. And then people started grabbing them and someone mentioned that this is one of the colors of the year. So
Desert Brown is in, dude.
Yeah, who would have thought?
We got lucky on that one for sure. I know we said we weren't going to talk about content like presentation content stuff because that's really well captured in the blog post, but there were some like keynote moments that you and I were fortunate enough to be in the room when certain things happened, which definitely is often not the case. You know, presentations are happening and there are other things you and I have to run around and do during our conferences. But I did want to give a shout out to Claude Silver, the chief heart officer of VaynerX. So if those of you who are familiar with Gary V, Claude and Gary work very close together. And Claude was our opening keynote. And I honestly like that was, gosh, hard to put into words how moving her presentation was. And it kind of felt like this cool universal moment where we could both start the conference and kind of bookend the conference with something that Claude said during her presentation. So a lot of her presentation had to do with like, you know, bringing your full authentic self to work and the power that you have to be like a shining positive light that can impact those around you in really beautiful ways, just with your own intention and your own word choice and your own behavior. And she told a story about how her grandmother, I think she called it her Nana. This wasn't that long ago, and they were at the grocery store together. And during checkout, her grandmother told the woman behind the cash register, like right when they were getting ready to leave, Claude's grandmother said, "Can you please do me a favor and have a peaceful rest of your day?" And the way Claude told it was just like, you know, that really took the the cashier by surprise, but in like a really meaningful way. So it kind of just like latched onto that, because after Claude said that, I remember hearing people in the audience kind of have like a, kind of like almost like a audible response to the idea of just like a really beautiful old woman saying, "Hey, can you do me a favor and have a really peaceful rest of your day?" And so that's how we ended the whole conference. The very last thing we said on stage was paying homage to Nana. And that's what we told everybody signing off, was like, "Hey, can you just do us a favor and have a very peaceful rest of your day?" And that just felt like a really cool kind of like, I don't know, little bookend to a really powerful presentation.
Yeah, it was such a great way, like you said, to kick the conference off and end the conference with those bookends. And yeah, Claude was an amazing speaker and presenter, but I think her message was so important and valuable and really resonated with our audience. I think overall, I mean, this year's speaker lineup was one of the best, if not the best we ever had, just from a attendee feedback perspective. The keynotes were really great. Obviously, Claude, and then Andrew Bishop with recognition, bringing the snacks again, which is awesome. And then the breakouts were, I think, next level. Everyone did really well from a attendee feedback perspective. The sessions I got to sit in on for parts, I was just blown away with the messages. There were so many actionable takeaways, which we try to really gear the speakers towards. But yeah, attendees were leaving with notebooks full of notes, and hopefully they can take that back to their organization, start making some change.
It's so hard to be a speaker at our event. I shouldn't say it's so hard, but like what our speakers have to navigate is that our audience is so diverse, right? So you're going to have people in the room that you're speaking to who are business owners and C-suite executives. You're going to have some people in the room who are, HR leads. You're going to have some people in the room who are just managers of teams, all the way down to like individual contributors. So you have to like craft a presentation in a way that can resonate with just a wide variety of people within different roles and different industries. So to be able to make that content, to not only have it resonate from like a motivation and inspiration standpoint, but to also make it practical for people to be able to go back to their place of work and take action on it is no easy feat. And so, like you said, Zach, like this felt like one of the most impressive lineups of speakers that we've ever had, just in terms of, practical action and people being able to go back to their place of work and do some sort of meaningful change right out the gate. So we really lucked out, dude. That was awesome.
We did. And I speaking of notes, I have my Culture Shape journal right here, and I feel like they just did such a good job this year with the color, the personalization.
So classy, dude.
Shout out Culture Shape for these beautiful journals.
Well, we're wrapping up now, so let's drink our own Kool-Aid and do what kind of we ask our guests to do on our podcast, which is to just reflect on a connection that you want to give a shout out to and give some level of gratitude. So maybe you and I, Zach, can kind of call out one conference connection that we met at CultureCon West that we just want to say thank you to for their time. And I'll go first because I'm putting you on the spot. I met a woman at the longer table dining experience at the conference. Her name is Kashonda Geiger, and she works for Southeast Crescent Regional Commission. I got to be honest with you, I don't know much about that organization, and I don't know much about what she does at that organization because we didn't talk about work at all. And I just got to chat with her for probably an hour and a half, and there were two things that we really dove into that were really, really important for me. The first was music, and we bonded over our shared passion for soul music, specifically neo soul. So we got to geek out over our Anthony Hamilton phase that we had and still have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We talked about the Roots and Erykah Badu, and she recommended some great artists for me. And hopefully I did a good job recommending some for her. One in particular that I remember recommending was St. Paul and the Broken Bones. And then we talked about parenting. We talked about our families. I told her how I was, I don't know if struggling is the right word, but trying to be responsible and mindful on how and when we introduce phones and kind of like smart smart tablet technology to our kids, which is something she has experience doing. And she just gave me so much good advice and wisdom and just kind of like non-judgment ideas. And so shout out to Kashanda, because she was just she was amazing. And then for the rest of the conference too, she just brought this such a positive energy, just like exuding joy and gratitude, and was eager to want to connect and be around other people. And I know we always say this, but like that's the magic of the conference, is people like Kashanda showing up and being themselves. So thank you, Kashanda, for your time at dinner and for everything you brought to the conference. It was amazing.
I had a chance to talk with Kashanda a little bit too, and I was talking with her on LinkedIn before the conference, so I knew of Kashanda. But the first time I got a chance to talk to her was on towards the end of day one, and I feel like day one was pretty stressful with some AV challenges and just other things going on, and kicking off the conference. And Kashanda came up to me at the end, and it was like, she just was very grateful for being there and had a lot of nice words to say. And we had a short conversation, but that's like exactly what I needed to like come back down. And my stress just like completely melted after talking to her. So I'll give Kashanda a shout out as well. You're an amazing human, and looking forward to seeing you in Madison at CultureCon 2026. I was trying to think while you were talking of like one connection, and it's so hard because there were so many. I think first off, I want to give a shout out to Cove and Hanson Hunt and the connection crew just for making all these connections possible. That Cove technology on the badge was amazing. It gets better every event, and it just gives people a seamless way to tap badges and connect. And Hanson and the entire connection crew bringing those activities, bringing the energy, and leveling up the connection was awesome, and really grateful for that partnership. The one connection I want to give a shout out to is Daniel Ratfield from Karakin's group. Daniel came to an event last year and brought another team member, Jay, with him to this year's event, and had a really good conversation. It was at Lager Table, but it was kind of in like the pre-table room. So we weren't at the same table, but we got a chance to talk for about 15 minutes and just learning a little more about Daniel on a deeper level. He's in the Chicagoland area, so obviously I'm a foodie, so we were talking about great restaurants and just life in general. Work didn't really come up. I know him and his company are doing some awesome things with their work in the culture space, but didn't really talk about that at all. It was just getting to know someone on a deeper level. And I think that was the magic of the Longer Table, is just, those connections that we made. So that was a lot of fun. I think the last thing I'll share, it's a connection, but obviously Giannis, we've known for a while at Cove. And the last night I was in Vegas, I think I was in Vegas for like 8 or 9 days, which is way too long to be in Vegas. But the last night it was just me, Giannis, and our good friend Nate Basso. And just the three of us. We had a nice steak dinner, and then Giannis convinced me and Nate to go to David Copperfield with him at MGM. So we had the dinner, ran over there, made it right on time. As we're walking in, the lights go down, and we're sitting at the same table. And David Copperfield, I mean, he's an illusionist. The tricks are really cool. The show itself was a little corny and like the performance side of things. But one of the first like big tricks he does is he throws a Frisbee out in the field, in the audience, and whoever catches it gets to go up on stage and be part of the trick. So he throws the Frisbee, and I'm like, oh, that's like coming towards us. And Giannis stands up and just snatches the Frisbee. Like, it's right to it. And I'm like, what are the odds, man? Like, you tried to get us to come here, and now you're the guy on stage. Do you know Copperfield? And you're kind of in on this trick. And so he doesn't, at least he says, he doesn't know him. But he gets up on stage. Long story short, David Copperfield asks him, sorry if this is embarrassing, Giannis, but what color his boxers are. And he said black. And so he wrote that on a piece of paper, black briefs, and a number. And he said, or 2 numbers, 4 and 14. And so then he brings out this, or it's on stage the whole time. It's this like lock box with all these locks. And
wait,
he has
is Yanni the one writing down? Did Yanni write down the color of his boxers, or is it David Copperfield?
He told Copperfield, and Copperfield wrote it on this big piece of paper.
Okay, I got
on
it.
stage. Yeah, so now Giannis is on stage, just him and Copperfield. And there's been this lockbox that was on stage. We're kind of wondering what it was. It was on there from the start of the show. And he asked Giannis how to say key and lock in Greek. And so he told him. Now he's like talking Greek with Giannis, which is pretty cool. And he gives Giannis a key. Giannis unlocks the lockbox. He pulls out a piece of paper. This has been on stage the whole time. And it says 414 and black boxer or black briefs.
What, dude?
Like I don't understand. It's just like a box. There's no way to get in there. It's completely locked. It was insane.
That's crazy.
So that was really cool. And just to wrap this story up, he kept Giannis on stage, and there was like this pole, and we're like, what's going on here? And he has Giannis crouched down on his knees, hug the pole, and put his head down. And then they drop this like tarp over the pole, and 15 seconds go by, they pull the tarp off, and on top of this pole is a 1948 Lincoln Continental, like not a Hot Wheel, the actual car. And Giannis, as he's crouching down, doesn't know what's going on. And so David Copperfield like helps him out from under, and he's walking off the stage. And like, as he's walking off, he looks back and he's like, what? Because he didn't even know a car like appeared, and we have no clue how he did this stuff.
What?
It was a wild way to end my week in Vegas.
That's insane. And then there's no like photos or anything of this, right?
Because our phones are in a lockbox the whole time. I wish I could have a picture of Giannis on stage with a 1948 Lincoln Continental on top of him. It's insane.
Oh, dude, that's nuts. Yeah, we got to stop. We got to stop the episode right here, and probably stop hosting conferences now. I don't know how that can get beat.
It was legendary.
That's insane. Oh my gosh, dude. Incredible.
It was amazing.
Yeah, well, thanks for listening, everybody. Those are just a few of our top of mind special moments that happened at CultureCon West this year. Like we said, we'll drop a link in the episode notes so you can see kind of our recap of what some of the content key takeaways were at the event. But yeah, as you know, just to reinforce that the people that come to the conference is what makes it special, and everyone who comes is so gracious and kind and patient and eager to want to learn and grow and have fun with one another. So all the thanks goes to our attendees, our partners, for making these events what they are. And we're just excited to build containers with all of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. That's a wrap on this episode of the official CultureCon podcast.
If you got something out of it, share it with a friend, a teammate, or a fellow culture geek.
And don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.
And if you want more ways to stay connected and inspired, check out our upcoming events page for a full listing of webinars, workshops, and conferences.
You'll find the link in the show notes, and we'd love to welcome you to a CultureCon event soon.
Until next time,